So good evening, and I hope you had a good week. It's been an excellent one on this side, rather very busy, but God has been gracious, and we've had a really good time. We are continuing in our series oops, visibility, and today we are saying be where it matters. Remember, we've talked through a lot of these different scenarios through the last few months, and now we're looking to be practical. So today we're looking at platforms, and we will kind of do like a regional focus, and I think it will be very interesting. So last week we ended on this particular note with a simple target of be searchable, be visible, be credible, be used. Who did something that shifted their visibility? You can put it in the chat, or you can unmute your mic and speak. Who did something on, because we're talking about Google My Business specifically, but maybe you didn't set up Google My Business, but you did something else to be searchable and credible and be you. Anybody want to share? Anyone who wants to share what they did that changed the game for them? That's a bit bright. Well, we didn't do anything on visibility, yeah? That's okay. That's also okay. But I hope we are processing it out. Let me see my chat. So okay. My chat has kind of disappeared. Here you are. All right. So, all right. We may not have done Google My Business last week, but I think this week will give you something more tangible. So we are saying be where it matters. And really, we're talking about what works in terms of social media. So let me ask a question. Think of your last 5 customers, all right? Where did they actually find you? Think of your last 5 customers, where did they actually find you? And is that the platform that you spend the most time on? I would like to get some responses from there. Where did your last customer find you? And is that the place you spend the most time? Do we have any takers? Anybody with an answer? Word of mouth. Interesting. Excellent. That's a good place to be found. So from word of mouth, where did they go? Did they come to WhatsApp or did they email you? Where did your last customer find you? So we have one who says word of mouth. Excellent. Anyone else? Where did your last customer find you? Phone call and WhatsApp. Excellent. And you're active on both those platforms. All right. Why are we doing this? Remember, we keep saying on this platform that we must go to where our people are and then be visible there. All right. So that's a very good place to start. Anyone else who wants to share with us? Your last 5 customers, where did they find you? And are you active? I mean, so many WhatsApp groups, like many of us. Um, is there any WhatsApp group that gives you the best value? Those are the groups you need to go to. I joined a WhatsApp group recently, and then somebody direct messaged me and said, I have groups in these different counties. Do you want to enter them? I'm still considering because it might increase my 58 WhatsApp groups to maybe about 70, I think. And I'm really pondering. But yeah, all right. So remember, we are talking about going to where our customers are and being visible in those spaces. So this is important because most of us are active in many places, but results come from one or two. Remember what we said, that your customer could meet you on one platform and convert on the other. So maybe they're finding you on Instagram and then they're messaging you to WhatsApp, or they're finding you on Facebook and you got that link to your WhatsApp or your TikTok, and they come in and you then close it in a different platform. And the problem is rarely effort. It usually is misaligned effort. So if you are not where your customers are and you're making noise and you're putting stuff out, then that becomes a little bit tricky because your effort is misaligned. So the foundation of what we're talking about, we focused last time on being found, being visible, being where people know you. We're looking for the spaces our audiences are and going into those places. Um, I asked you to ensure that when somebody searches you, you can be located, you can be seen, you are visible, because the search doesn't end with, or visibility does not end with a search, it continues with presence. So they go to the platform, they key in Chesubire, all right? When they find Chesubire, what is Chesubire putting up, all right? Is it useful to them? Do they grow? Do they gain from it? Because many of us show up, but not where it matters. We're consistently posting, but not reaching the right people. Therefore, we are ineffective, all right? So visibility is about alignment, not effort. It's not about how many posts you put up, is whether or not the posts you put up are valuable to the people you want to speak to, right? So if you're where they're not paying attention, you cannot develop traction because your customer is elsewhere engaging, watching, scrolling, chatting, learning, moving, choosing. So the question is, are you visible in the right space? Now, this is important because if we're out of alignment, if we're not where they are paying attention, the work cannot translate to traction and cannot translate to income. And the thing we're looking to produce and deliver every time is grow our income. So that's what we're looking at. So visibility is very important, but you have to be visibility in the right space. I remember, and I think I've told this story here before. We in my event days, we did a 3 million shilling media campaign, um, primetime news. I think it was like 60 seconds for 2 weeks. We spent 3 million shillings. We only sold 3 tickets, and each ticket was 7,000 bob. So from the 3 million sale, we made 21,000 shillings. That's a direct mismatch. What it did, though, for the next year, we had more inquiries because people remembered the ads. So it was out of alignment for the immediate, but it paid off dividends for the next year. Did we raise the 3 million? No. So that was still a slightly misaligned publicity campaign. And you know what? This was, I think at that point, the only social media was then Twitter and Facebook. So that's all we had to work with. All right. So we had to figure out other ways, and it meant going into organizations and doing a lot more one-on-ones and emails to HR directors, finance directors. That's what gained us the traction we were looking for. All right. So this matters because we have to understand that visibility is not about being on every platform. Neither is it following every trend or copying everything everyone else does, and posting everywhere and hoping something works. We're not spray and hope that it sticks somewhere. And many of us up until this point, we've done that a lot, especially in our growing businesses. But what we now want to move to is being very focused and targeted. We are learning that less is more. So instead of going to every event, which event would add the most value? Instead of posting about everything you do, which one has the greatest capacity to position you as an effective leader? All right. When you do all those things, you realize that visibility is truly a practical framework to help you choose one, the right platform, and then clarify where attention sits and how to position yourself for it. And then now with very clear focus, show up where it matters. The key thing we have is show up where it matters. Why is that important? You want to be in the place where you're most likely to be seen by ideal clients at a moment they're ready to purchase. Remember, usually we make sales after 7 to 12 touches. So be in the space where they'll see you enough times to be like, I need to get that thing. So that's what visibility is about. We are not trying to We're not conjuring schemes. We're not trying to cast spells on our people. We're not trying to be sneaky. We are working to be very focused on our niche and moving there. So common mistakes we make is we try to be on every platform. And if you listen to some people, they say, no, you must be everywhere. Okay. The other thing we often do is we choose platforms based on trends. Like now, TikTok is a place in Avuma, or it's a place that's on fire. All right. So now, do you just go there because it is on fire, or do you go there because your audience is there? Right. The other one we make is we just post for the sake of posting without a clear purpose. What are you trying to build with your posting? What's the end game for the things you're putting up? Are you wanting to drive sales, or are you just cluttering an already busy online space? And then copy pasting content exactly as it is across platforms. And I'll tell you why that becomes tricky. There's a way Instagram likes its posts done. There's a way TikTok likes its posts done. LinkedIn, you can do a larger variety. Facebook, you can do a larger variety. When you post them are absolutely identical, you there is a way the algorithms are just like, this looks like reused content, right? So what you do, you make minor tweaks, and this is where AI GPTs come in, because you can take the same and say optimize for, and then you tell it LinkedIn, WhatsApp, X, it can optimize it for every platform. So you could tell it for X, turn this into a thread. So it gives you a series of posts that all you do is copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and life goes on, right? When those things happen like that, it has to make us think about where we are going. Because remember, we're not trying to be on every platform. We're trying to settle on the platforms where our customers are. So let me give another example. There is a lady I once met in a class I was teaching, and her product is very niched, and it is only marketed on one website in the world. So she was in my digital marketing class, and I said to her, she's like, but where do I go? I asked her, where are your clients? She's like, all the work we get in our industry is pitched on this site. I said, so you go and you pitch on that site, and you stay there, and you're so effective and you're so clear that you draw the right people to purchase for you. You draw the right people, even if it's not to purchase immediately, to begin to ask the right questions, right? And when you have thought it through, that is where you're able to overcome the final mistake, which is inconsistency. You post today, you don't post tomorrow, then you're quiet for 3 weeks, then you come every day, five a day, 5 a day for 5 days, then you're a choker, then you stop, right? The reality is you would rather post once a week and do it consistently than post 3 days this week, none next week, 5 days the other. You'd rather just say, all I can do is I can afford to put up one post a week on Tuesday at 11. And make sure every Tuesday at 11 you got one post, and in between what you're doing is engagement. So the other common mistake, which has just come to mind now that I'm sitting here, is not engaging with other people's content. If you just put up stuff and don't engage with other people's content, the algorithm judges you as selfish, and it then sends less to you. All right? So, a couple of things that we need to ensure that we're doing well. We must realize that attention is specific. So, there are about four or five core principles. Number one, attention is specific. Your customer is somewhere, they have habits, they open certain apps fast, spend time in there, and engage in predictable ways. So attention is not haphazard, it's very targeted and very focused. So if you're not present in the spaces where they go, your visibility does not reach them. You become like noise, a clanging cymbal somewhere in the middle of this 2 billion posts that go up every day. All right. So the goal is to be seen by the right people in the right place. Again, it goes back to what we did in the February month, where we clearly defined our market, we defined our niche, we defined our customer avatar, and then we positioned to connect with them. So the goal is to be seen by the right people in the right place. That's it. Because attention is hyper-specific. Another example, you do not see adverts um, for the Rolls-Royce show expo, but they do have them. You do not see those adverts. Because where do you find them? You find them showcasing alongside private jets. Because if you can afford a private jet, you can likely afford the whole Rolls-Royce family. All right. So they do not advertise themselves. And even those events, they are very, very well managed. You only get on by a certain level of pre-qualification, a certain level of income, because they only want serious buyers in the room. So think about your market with the same level of depth and truly understand where they are, what their habits are, which apps do they own, open fast, spend lots of time on, and you will find predictable patterns. One of my mentees, when we were working on her marketing strategy, one of the things we said is go and talk to your customers. Ask them very simple questions. What kind of content do you like? How long do you like? What time do you want it posted? What is the frequency? And because her market is multi-generational and also different genders, so the women who are farmers, the older women who are farmers, checked their WhatsApps and their Facebook videos in the morning. The men, the older men checked in the evening. The younger ones were like throughout the day were online. So then she had to find a middle time that would be realistic for her to be consistent, right? So finding the right people at the right place. The second thing is focus creates traction. Spreading effort reduces visibility. If I'm on 16 platforms, we're just doing pep, 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 pep. That is what influences inconsistency. When you try to be everywhere, you dilute your effort. So your content is therefore inconsistent, your quality is lower, your message is lost. Traction comes from repetition and clarity. Have you had people who have the same, they end with the same tagline? I know a guy who says, let's ponder on things. That's how he ends his shows, his clips and everything. All right. So when he does a podcast, that's how he ends. When he does a speaking engagement, that's how he ends. His reels, he ends like that. So the repetition has developed clarity over time. And he only talks about building businesses. The strategies needed, the structures needed, the systems needed. So then what has happened is I have learned to see him, recognize and understand him because he is consistently in the spaces I'm in, delivering information I'm looking for, and then now his logo is recognizable because he is visible where I need him. What has he done? He has focused. So he's talking to a very specific audience. There's a lady I was watching on a couple of her videos on TikTok, and it's so clear who she's talking to. And it's so clear she's a biblical entrepreneur. So she always says, a strategy I found in, and she gives the scripture where she found it. And she'll expand it, draw it into a general marketplace, take you back to scripture, anchor it. Because she is talking to kingdom businesses, biblical entrepreneurs. That's it. So if you don't like hearing about scripture, please pass quickly, 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 quickly. So focus creates traction because when you know who you're talking to, then you fully customize for them. Platform is not the same as strategy. Being present is not the same as being effective. So creating an account is not strategy. Posting occasionally is not strategy. Strategy answers three core questions. Why are you here? Whom are you speaking to? And what action do you want them to take? So this is three questions that answer the responses when you found your target audience in terms of identifying their greatest need, understand the information they're looking for, and provide it for them in a format and on a platform that they are looking for. So without this, we are active and ineffective. And really, that's not what we want to do. So let's understand that just being on a platform is not a strategy. The strategy is figuring out how to meet the needs of your clients and how often, with what, where, when, and then putting it out. So our strategies are also driven by the things we want to accomplish. So if I want to make sales, what am I doing to make sales? Am I speaking directly to their needs, or am I just talking and yapping and then nothing happens? All right. So those are the things you must think about. Also understand that people have different behaviors on different platforms, and that is important to track. Because if you treat every platform the same, your message will not land. For instance, WhatsApp is often used for direct communication, whether it is in groups, whether it is on your channel, whether it is one-on-one. It's really about very clear, direct communication. Instagram, people respond to visuals and storytelling. So like Instagram, you get a lot more visibility using your stories, right? Very often the same thing can be said about WhatsApp, because your WhatsApp status, a lot of people seem to go there more than messages. So how do you harness them? What you're doing in your status is putting out a hook that people will come back and ask, tell me about this one. All right. TikTok really currently it's carousels that are currently grabbing attention. But the intention for TikTok is short, relatable content. Maximum is 10 minutes. It needs to be engaging. So depending on what your audience are doing, again, that's what you develop. Or that's what you repurpose. So has somebody done a post in something that is exactly what your audience want? Repost it. And then LinkedIn is more about insight and credibility. So you're looking to do articles, you're looking to do thought pieces, you can do newsletters in there. What you're doing is to position yourself as an industry authority. So every platform has a different kind of behavior related to it. It also has a different format for placement. So depending on who your client is, then you're able to really figure out which platform would work for them. And I think I've already mentioned this consistency beats pressure. So one platform done well is better than many done poorly, because visibility is built over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it comes. So what are we looking at? Well, we are trying not to post once and disappear, because that will not help our lives. We are working to show up regularly, even in simple ways, to build recognition and courage and confidence, because consistency turns visibility into trust, and trust then turns visibility into decisions. So if you see me, like now we have people who say they know the day of the week by what is on our statuses. So on Tuesday, they expect to see a blue flyer with my face and Joe's face on my status. They know, it's actually Tuesday, right? And what we're working to do, which means we must work on ourselves first, is build in that muscle for consistency. Sometimes what you do, like what I have done I was doing the Founder's Guide to Lent, which was actually 46 posts, because usually Lent is counted Monday to Saturday and the Sunday is a rest day. So that's how it's 40 days, right? Over 7 weeks. It's actually 46 posts. Now, what I found is, as we posted it every day we put it up. Now there was an ask for afterwards, will you have it collected somewhere? Can you do another one? What are we going to be following? Now, my life has been so hectic since just the end of Christmas. So I haven't done that, but we should be picking up another new pattern shortly in the next day or two. Why? The founders around me found it useful and encouraging to keep going. I remember one lady came and said she had never seen how Lent could be connected to her business. I'm like, but uko kwa biashara, that's what you do on a daily basis. How is it unconnected to your business? So that was a light bulb moment. I used my WhatsApp status for it. I used the AMC TikTok for the post. So I had a daily post on AMC TikTok. And then I was doing another countdown for another event activity, which I used my personal TikTok. And they have each driven a different kind of traffic. Then I took my personal countdown and I put it on my LinkedIn. And it's been very interesting to see people's response to a thought and a short caption. So now I know that is the way to go because you can develop a theme, you can choose a time it goes up, and you place it and it goes. And all these platforms actually have scheduling options. So really consistency beats pressure. And when you're like that, one of the things I encourage people to do is bulk create. Sit down and create for the week, create for the month. If it's a 40-day cycle, think through all of them, structure them, divide them into arcs if you can, which is clusters, and then put them out. Put them out. What happens at the end of the day is that you find that you develop a rhythm and people know what to expect from you. So then they come over again and again. So the key things we must do is we must stay active. Visibility is not one-off. It doesn't happen, I'm there today and it's lasting. People need to remember you. So what are the updates you can put up? What is the new content you can do? What are the photos you can put in? When people give you reviews, this feeds back to our conversation of last week. Respond to the reviews. When people comment on your post, respond to the comments. Respond in two ways, use the reaction thingies, and then answer the comment that they put up. Keep things current and give people thoughtful reviews and comments on their content. Remember, the algorithm also assesses how well you interact with other people's content. So we have to be able to manage all those dimensions of what we're doing. If you are with me, let me put an SC and SM in the chat for social media. If you're with me, let me see an SM in the chat. It means social media. As I sip my tea. All right. Is anyone here still in the meeting with me? Excellent. I have seen one. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I want us to do a look at our countries. So I've picked up a couple of countries. General overview. It's not exactly perfect because things change a lot, but this is in the recent past. So we're going to look at Kenya. We'll look at South Africa. We will look at Nigeria, and we will look at Uganda. Just trying to look at different aspects across the continent. So let's go. This is where attention sits. Apologies. So in Kenya, we're highly mobile, we're social, and we're conversational. There is a habit we have as Kenyans. We find humor in the most insane things. It could be a very sad thing, and Kenyans find so much humor in it. I love Kenya. We all say, Sihami Kenya. For our non-Kenyans, I am not moving from Kenya. What stands out, we've got very high mobile usage. We have excellent internet connectivity. My fellow Kenyans, you need to travel across this continent to realize how blessed you are to have stable internet, right? We have a very strong WhatsApp culture, and social media is part of daily life. There are many of us, social media is the only place we get our news, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, and everything in between, right? Primary attention is around WhatsApp as a primary communication and sales channel. Instagram is strong for lifestyles, also some sales on it, MSMEs and personal brands. Facebook is where we build community and broaden reach, as well as reach the older population, which is those of about 38 upwards. And then TikTok is rapidly growing for discovery. What does that mean? In the younger generation, what the Google search engine is to the older generation is what TikTok is. I remember when we were looking for a venue for an event and I was talking about it with my Gen Zs, they all went to TikTok, shwa, and they typed in whatever it is we're looking for. I'm here on Google search, they're there on TikTok, and they found locations faster than me. All right. So if these are the standout things for us as Kenyans, what then we're looking at is conversations convert, not just content. Because if you look here, we said we're largely conversational and social. All right. Visibility must then lead to direct engagement. So whether it's a direct message, whether it's a WhatsApp chat, whether you send them to your chatbot, to your WhatsApp business, you have to After people have seen the content, lead them to a place they can talk to you, all right? And you must be relatable, practical, and therefore produce that kind of content because that is what tops the charts. As well as if you're just, there's a lot of humor also. So you're relatable, practical, and depending on your audience, humorous. For instance, let's talk about KFC. The KFC social media marketing is hilarious. And it's often in slang, it is stick figures, it's a lot of mischief because they realized after market research that the people most likely to buy their food stuff is lower millennials and Gen Z. The rest of us, even the others, we don't lie, we eat KFC occasionally. But those who would consume it more are younger. So what they did, they flipped their marketing campaign to mirror that particular population. And then they were able to really push not only the engagement, but conversions. So what is the best approach? We start with Instagram and WhatsApp, and then we add TikTok for reach and Facebook for community. You see how you start with two and then over time grow? Because we said we don't want to be on too many platforms and we're ineffective on all those platforms. So that's a snapshot of Kenya. Is it a perfect snapshot of all age groups? It's a generalization across age groups. That's what we're doing in all these things. Different age groups have different unique behaviors. So when you define your avatar, you must now go to where that avatar or where that customer is and meet them at their point of interaction. In South Africa, there's a lot more professional, structured and hybrid. So what stands out is more structured digital behavior, a stronger mix of professional and lifestyle content, and there's higher LinkedIn usage than most markets. Than most, not all, right? So the attention is in Facebook, it's still dominant for rich and community. All right. WhatsApp is widely used for communication. LinkedIn is strong for business to business comms and influence as well as professionals. And then Instagram is for lifestyle and brand visibility, which then means because it is highly structured professional, then it means that credibility matters most. So where are the places you're building your credibility? And then you need to be clear and professional, as well as balance value and presentation. This does not mean there is no room for fun and banter. It just means that by and large, when you even everything out, these are the top things we need to do. So suggestions start with Facebook and LinkedIn for B2B or Instagram for B2C. So for those of us who may be asking, B2B is business to business interactions, B2C is business to customer interactions. And then you use WhatsApp for conversion. Remember how we talked about you could meet your people on platform A and convert on platform B. Many people will come and text you, oh, I remember I was talking to a brand and I found them on Facebook. So they said, send us a message. So when you click their link, it takes you to their DMs. So we're chatting. Then the lady says, please chat on WhatsApp. This is too much work. I'm like, yeah, but on your ads, you should have put your WhatsApp number. So then we moved to WhatsApp, and indeed, they were more active and more cooperative on WhatsApp. So these are the basic features of South Africa. Nigeria is high energy, content driven, trend led. All right. So what stands out is it has a fast moving digital culture, high content consumption, and strong influence of trends and personality. Right. So then IG becomes a major platform for business and branding. It becomes their top platform. All right. TikTok for reach and virality, and you find a lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of West African content on TikTok, and they have a lot, all right? And then X for conversations, trends, and influence, and WhatsApp. Now, Kenyans also use a lot of X, but we use it a lot more for social mobilizing. I'm not sure how much business people actually do on X. I have never followed up on that one. And on X, we have, okay, I don't know whether it's KOX now because when it was Twitter, we had KOT. So we galvanize around causes on X as Kenyans, whereas here it is largely used as an influential tool. And then WhatsApp is largely for closing and community. So when you look at each country based on demographics and behaviors and culture, you see slight differences. So this means that attention is earned through content, personality and relatability matter a lot, and speed and consistency are critical. This is a market of over 200 million people. All right. So best approach, start with IG and TikTok, then use WhatsApp to convert, and then X to be relevant. And many of us, if we want to be relevant and do industry conversations, then X is the place to go. I've really struggled with X the last few years, but I'm asking God to give me the grace for it. So finally, let's look at Uganda. Uganda's culture is relationship driven and their digital is growing progressively. Again, they also have a much weaker um, internet connectivity stability actually, because you could be there but the internet is very unstable. So the things we do, like here we do online classes, we do so much stuff online. For them it's a little bit challenging because their internet is a lot more unstable. Of course, we know it has a lot to do with their political dispensation. So trust and relationships drive decisions. You cannot make a move or build a connection without that level of trust. So it is growing. It has a much slower digital adoption than Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. And community influence is strong. So let's say I want to connect to to one person, I need to ensure I've gathered a community around them. Or I want to influence a community, I have an influential person from their end who is connecting with what we do. So where is the attention? WhatsApp is WhatsApp. In fact, they could, and on WhatsApp, so what a lot of them do is they send voice notes. They call it ka voice. Then you'll just see, I've sent you a ka voice instead of typing like many of us here do. They'd rather send a voice note. So you find a lot of voices going back and forth, right? Facebook is still strong for community and for reach. Instagram is growing, especially amongst the youth, and TikTok is emerging. So if you look at every country, depending on its culture, political dispensation, social focus, it really has a play on which channels are stronger there. What this means for founders is you must build trust before the transaction. Now, in all markets, trust comes first, but in markets like Uganda, it's hypersensitive, all right? Every market will judge you based on your level of reliability, but certain markets have it more. So referrals and relationships are critical. I remember I heard of somebody who was trying to do some business there, so they came to us and they asked, "Do you know anyone?" Then, of course, I have relatives and siblings there. So I just connected them to one of my brothers, and it was a longer process because there is a way. I mean, us Kenyans will work 24/7, 365. For them, they're like, Choka, Friday, we are done. Let's talk again on Monday. So then if you go in there with too much content, too much pushing, you just find yourself sitting outside the door. So simplicity and consistency are what matter in that space. So the best way to start, WhatsApp and Facebook. And it's so interesting because that's where I find a lot of my people. And then Instagram as you grow. TikTok is also beginning to pick up, but it is not as active as these three. So what I wanted us to see is this. Every community have a different set of behaviors, which push a different purpose, which push a different, what's the word, pattern of engagement. So depending on the country where you are, should have done Botswana since we've got a Botswana in the room, but it's okay. Depending on the country where you are and the levels of connectivity, they will determine how you will use social media. I was doing a course a couple of years back and we're talking about Lesotho. We're talking about the AFCFTA, the digital protocol. And our facilitator was from Lesotho, and he said for them, internet is not important. There are only like 3 million people. They have bigger problems. They only have one main industry, which is the cotton that was going to the US and AGOA. And that's all they had, and they were comfortable with that until they saw the ending of AGOA. Now, for them, digital infrastructure is unstable, internet is unreliable. So they are not interested in the digital protocol. So if you're going to go into a country like Lesotho, you need to be going with more physical goods. So then if you want to position yourself and sell on social media, it then means that you need to find the right market, which is the countries where the digital infrastructure and the internet infrastructure are stable. So when you're using social media, the multiple platforms we've talked about, so we have under WhatsApp, we have the general WhatsApp, which is what we have, and WhatsApp for business. Caution about general WhatsApp. Do not send too many individual messages to people. You get blocked as a spammer for 24 hours. So if you are in the kind of business that sends a lot of promotional messages, multiple unknown numbers every day, please get WhatsApp business and embed there, because WhatsApp business acknowledges you're a business and that's what you would do as a business. So you keep your phone, your prime phone on the side and use your business line. You cannot have the same number in both general WhatsApp and WhatsApp business. So then you have to choose which one you're doing. We all know Facebook, it's an age-old platform. And one of the beautiful things about Facebook is the capacity to build communities and groups. And I'm actually seeing that people are still starting communities and groups. So that's what is going on in that particular space. We all know Instagram. Um, so WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, we all know are one, they're all part of the Meta family, right? We all understand X, we all understand all the platforms. What I want us to do is think through your business, and I think that is coming up. So let me stop. So across all markets, WhatsApp is the conversion layer. Instagram and TikTok drive discovery, Facebook builds community, and LinkedIn works for professional positioning. So then you look at what you're trying to do. Are you trying to position as a identify a professional with certain people working with corporates, and LinkedIn is a place to go? Are you looking to position as a good partner for corporate projects? LinkedIn is where you go. But all these other platforms drive either discoverability, conversion, or community. Now, this I want you to think about as we wind down today's session. What platforms are you currently using? And I believe because the last few weeks we've been talking platforms, you already know the platforms you're currently using. Next question. Are your customers actually paying attention, and are they there? Are they there and are they paying attention? All right. I remember on one of the platforms we used, we had run an ad. And so this week I went to review it, and it had stopped, and Facebook asked, did the ad accomplish your goal? I said no, because it brought us a lot of people who were asking for jobs, soliciting for money, as opposed to the audience of founders we wanted to connect with. That tells me, and it's an ad from early in the year, that tells me the definition of the audience was wrong. So when you're putting out stuff, are you even looking to see whether you're talking to the right people? Or are you just putting out because everybody says you need to be on every platform? So that brings us to question 3. Which platform are you forcing that isn't working? All right. Because it answers that, when you answer that question, it is linked to question 4, which asks, are you visible in the right places or active everywhere? And remember, it's not about being on every platform. It's about starting with the platforms that will give you the greatest impact and then adding others. Because the reality we find is when you build a routine and a pattern of being on one particular platform, then you're able to diversify to others. And the final question you need to ask yourself is, what would change if you focused on one platform? What would change? What would change if you focused on just one platform? One space, one place, one focus for the time being as you consider and continue to build your brand. I will give us just a couple of moments to think about this. What would change if you decided to focus on one platform? And if you are confident, please share with us. I would like to hear from a few people. What would change if you decided to focus on one platform? Anyone who wants to share? Some sharing from the floor? Some sharing from the floor? Or is it a very difficult question? Have conversions, which is the goal. Excellent. So if you focus on one platform, you'll be able to convert better. Excellent. Absolutely excellent. Thank you. Any other sharing before we completely wind it down and I hand it over to the one and only, the original Mokoko? All
I'd like
right.
to share.
Yes, go ahead.
Something you said here resonated for me. So I think that if I focus on that one platform, I would get used to the habits of my customers, and I would actually leverage that to eventually lead to sales at the end of the day, instead of being all over the place and hoping
Mm,
that something bites. Yeah.
excellent. You would be able to hyper focus and convert instead of being all over the place. We have also had to learn that. So you are on the right track. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So the kind of things to remember. Visibility is not about being everywhere, it's about being present where it matters. So choose one place, show up well, and stay consistent. I love that one. Be present where it matters. And you see, when you're present where it matters, you are clear. So it is clarity before action, focus before growth, consistency before scale. Many of us want to scale and be everywhere, but we haven't even mastered consistency. So as we go forth, I think it's important that we don't put in more effort, we seek more alignment. Alignment to what? Where our customer already is, so that we can turn visibility into traction. So the thing we're looking to do more of is to be more aligned, so that at the end of the day, then we can begin to move with confidence that everything we need to do is not only getting done, but it's getting done at a level of quality that directly meets the needs of our customers and helps us convert. All right, let me pass this to Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Unfortunately, I'm having challenges with power and network. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear
Yes,
me,
we
clap one.
we have clapped. And you have disappeared. All right. Joe, you have disappeared.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. You had disappeared for a bit.